is GenEon, and this is Chris Kessler, and he is the VP, and he's going to talk a little bit about and tell us about this and share it. And goodbye, Chris.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Chris. If I ever talk too fast, or if I breeze over something that you want to expand and ask a question about, please feel free to raise your hand, throw something at me, whatever you'd like. As Shannon was saying, we are a technology company. We have a line of devices. We take the tap water from your schools, we transform it into a non-toxic disinfectant. The two big things about disinfectants, because did anybody here in any of the school districts, anybody have any flu problems this year? Oh yeah. Everybody? Yeah. I had it for the first time. I've never had the flu before. And luckily I wasn't achy or anything like that. I just had a real nasty cough, but I was very contagious. Actually contracted it from a school in Ohio that I was up doing a demo for. I live down in Atlanta. So, because the two big things about disinfecting, especially when it comes to influenza, the flu, influenza is actually, it's very easy to kill. It's not a hard virus to get rid of. The problem is, the downside of traditional chemical disinfectants is their efficacy, or how well they work, how fast they work. You have that long dwell time. Most educational facilities in the United States use quaternary disinfectants, which, for certain bacteria, you can get away with killing it in, 3 or 5 minutes, keeping the surface wet. Most of them require a 10-minute dwell time for viruses. It's impossible, especially in an educational facility like a school. I hate the phrase high touch point, because kids touch more than desktops, light switches, and doorknobs. Kids are touching here, they're touching down here, they're sneezing, coughing everywhere. Well, you can't keep every square inch of a school wet for 10 minutes. Just literally, it's impossible. So by utilizing technology, we can create a solution that will work better than the traditional disinfectants. Simply by taking the water from the school, marrying it with our saltwater electrolyte that Ms. Shannon was talking about, and then the devices will electrolyze the solution. And all those little bubbles you see in there, that's a way to see the electricity reacting with the saltwater solution and the water. So because this was already charged, this now is a solution, it's a disinfectant that all of those bacteria and viruses that you had to do 5 minutes or 10 minutes to keep the surface wet, to kill, this will kill all of them in 30 seconds. So it's a much stronger solution than the traditional chemical disinfectants. Ms. Shannon had mentioned bleach. Because we can control the strength of this disinfectant, it's anywhere between 80 and 200 times stronger than bleach. Stronger than bleach. So now that I've effectively scared you to death, over 99% of the liquid remains water, so you can dip your fingers in. Feels just like water, it's not slimy or anything like that, but take a smell. You can smell the chlorine, it's very, very strong. Although we keep it at a neutral pH, so it won't harm your clothes. You can wash your hands with soap and water, that smell will go away. The other downside of disinfectants is the health hazards of it, right? We don't want to, you got to wear goggles or a mask or things, and I don't ever speak negatively about other disinfectants in public. But I always just ask people, check out the safety data sheet for the product that you're using. There's a real popular one in Atlanta. We basically kicked it out of the market. I won't name it, but when looking at the safety data sheet, it mandates that when using that product, you have to wear glasses with side guards or goggles and a full face shield. And I always ask guys, how many face shields do you guys have? Do you have to share? Like, no, nobody's wearing the glasses or the goggles. It tells you on the safety data sheet, don't breathe the vapors, don't breathe the mist. Well, when we spray, we can see where the droplets go, but the tiny little droplets that we don't see that come up in the air, we breathe them in. It irritates our throats. That's why if you ever clean your bathroom and you're using Tilex or anything and you have the door closed or anything, you feel that burn, that tickle in the back of your throat. It's a bad sign. This solution kills everything that those things do in 30 seconds. And it's completely safe. It's 100% safe. By utilizing technology, we can create a disinfectant that we don't need all those chemicals. There's one disinfectant agent in here, chlorine. Chlorine is the best disinfectant in the world. That's not a GenEon opinion, that's a CDC fact. Anytime there's anything really bad that goes on, an outbreak, think of the Ebola outbreak a few years ago out in West Africa and everything. How did the CDC help handle it? They just shipped over gallons and gallons of bleach. Because when bleach is mixed with water, it becomes an active chlorine disinfectant. This is stronger than that. You can find this technology, as Ms. Shannon was saying, it's not new. This technology is a little bit over 100 years old. We haven't been around that long. We just got a new way of creating it to make it into a nice, compact, easy to use device. And so this gives all of the good of chlorine with none of the negative traditional side effects you're thinking about. And you've seen this technology before. If anybody has been in a saltwater pool, how you can have a red bathing suit at the beginning of summer and swim in a saltwater pool, and at the end of summer, it's still the same red. Whereas a chlorine pool, it turns that light pink color because it's eating the color out of it. This is the exact same technology, just at a much higher strength. So this will give you the tool to fully disinfect any area that you're thinking of you want to get done. And I think we can all agree that versus schools and a hospital, when I go into a school, I hope I don't get sick. I don't ever want to get sick. I expect that it's to be safe, but it's kids, they're sneezing and coughing and everything like that. There's always a small chance. In a hospital, namely in an operating room, I think we all can agree the expectation of disinfecting is a little bit higher because you're going to be cutting people open. It's got to be clean and disinfected. We actually did a test just south in San Antonio back in March at a hospital, a Baptist hospital. They sent in a woman to go in and clean and disinfect an operating room. And she went in and she had her bottle and she was spraying, she was disinfecting everything, and then she's walking out with her cart and there's a bunch of guys in white coats standing there with the little Petri dishes you see like 7th grade science kids use. And she said, well, what are you doing with those dishes? They said, oh, we're going to go in and we're going to swab the room and then we're going to send them off to a lab and see if the room is fully disinfected. And she said, well, goodness, if I knew you were going to do that, I probably would have done a little bit better of a job. And they said, no, that's what we want. We want to see what is the everyday use of this disinfectant that we're using. How well is it performing? How well is it doing its job? Well, they took they went in, they swabbed all the areas, and they sealed the room off. Nobody went back in. And then 3 hours later, they went back in with our system. And they took this device. This is our mist unit, because you can take our solution, you can put it into spray bottles and everything like that, but it's not 1937 anymore. There are better ways to get the solution out. So this unit, what it allows you to do is it actually allows you to control the moisture, so how wet a surface gets, and then it allows you to spray the product out in a way that you can blanket quickly, faster than a spray bottle. Every square inch of this table is wet. Every square inch of that table has some moisture on it. It will cling. I can actually take it and disinfect an area that's never been disinfected in your schools, but kids get sick from it all the time. The underside of the desk. How often, you guys find gum there, right? Kids are touching. So this is an area that with a traditional chemical disinfectant, I can't take a spray bottle and do this. It's going to drip off. It's not going to stay wet for the amount of time to kill what it needs to kill. This is a solution because the droplet size is so small, it clings to everything. To spray down a classroom, it takes about 40 seconds. So back to that hospital, the lab results came back. The chart shows that with the traditional quaternary disinfectant, on key touch points like the monitor touch screen or the monitor touch controls, the thing that people are touching who are opening you up, and the chair, they all had bacterial regrowth. All of them had moderate bacterial regrowth. Then the results came back after they sprayed the room down with our solution. All of the surfaces were disinfected. Even those ones that showed growth, we disinfected that area. We did what that traditional disinfectant couldn't do. So the reason I bring this up again, bringing it back to the flu season, again, influenza is not hard to kill. It's really not. The problem is the products require that you wait so long for it to do its job, it doesn't become possible. So if the disinfectants couldn't kill influenza, and obviously, you all know it wasn't specific to Texas. We had it all over the country. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of schools closed. Thousands of kids sick all over the country. Because there's no way to put out the fire, if you will, with a traditional product. This is a way that we had school systems. We had one in Kentucky who contacted our co-founder and said, hey, you know what? While schools around us are closing, I've got 1, maybe 2 kids per classroom that are out sick because they're using the solution. It's actually killing the bacteria. It's actually killing the virus. So again, if the chemical disinfectant couldn't kill influenza, which is like a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10 to kill, how is it going to perform all year round for things that aren't seasonal, like norovirus? Norovirus is mainly contracted through food, through eating bad food. and it spreads faster than the flu, and it's a hell of a lot harder to kill. So if you have things like that, or in your athletic areas where you have MRSA and staph, things like those, if the 10 minutes isn't going to kill the flu, how is it going to possibly stand up to those things? We have schools who have documented, again, going in to spray a room, classroom, takes about 40 seconds. So you're in and you're out. Traditionally, when you're disinfecting a school, what do? We wait till the end of the day, the kids all come home, then we all come in, 10 of us, and we spray down the school. Let's say, just for argument's sake, let's say that the whole school stayed wet for 10 minutes, and now it's 11:30 at night, the whole school is disinfected, right? Who cares? Nobody's in the building. What does it matter? You want the building to be disinfected when there are people in here, so that when Shauna comes in and she's got the flu and she's got 7 hours to spread it around, well, now we have a way to possibly stop other kids getting sick from her. Because traditionally, waiting till the end of the day, she's already contaminated the whole school. How are you possibly going to keep you guys all from catching it, the students who share the desk from her class after class? By going in when the kids have when the classroom is open, they're at the library, they're at lunch, they're at recess, it's just an open period. Being able to go in and spray the room down, now she sat in the desk there, it was sprayed, now when you sit there, you don't get sick. Because we were able to break that chain of contamination. With traditional disinfectants, you can't use them during the day. You can't disinfect the whole school during the day. The parents would have your heads. Because the products are so nasty. And we all know the parents are the worst part, right? More than the teachers, the parents are the worst. But parents are becoming a lot more involved. They're becoming a lot more involved. Even myself, I have young children. And when they go to school, I'm going to be asking what products are they using. Because people who are my age and just a few years older, we don't have brand loyalty. We don't care what product you've been using for years. Is it working? So this is a way that we can actually now give you the tool to actually do your job, do it better than. We can give you that operating room fully disinfected. That quality, that standard, we can apply it to a school. We can apply it to a classroom, a locker room, a bathroom. Bathrooms are another big area. No one can show you a disinfectant work. I don't have a lab coat or a microscope, I'm not a scientist. But you got that light chlorine smell, right? This product is an excellent deodorizer. Take me to your stinkiest locker room or bathroom. I've been in high schools in Orlando, Florida in the middle of summer, in the boys' locker room for football. You walk in, your eyes just start to sweat, it smells so bad. 5 minutes later, I've sprayed the whole thing down, you don't breathe deeper than you had to. 5 minutes later, I've sprayed it down. Okay, it smells good in here. It smells great. I know football is big in Texas, so this is a great way to go through. We have some schools in Arkansas that now the football players don't ever get staph. They've never had a staph, they don't get staph infections anymore because they spray down all the equipment, they spray down the pads, right? How often do football pads get disinfected? They don't. So now this is the way to go through. The captains of the team, they go through, they spray it all down. We have the safety testing to show that I can spray this product as much or as little as I want in an occupied room, and no one has to wear gloves, no one has to wear glasses, no one has to wear a basic respirator. So basically, we use technology for everything else in life. It's how I talk to my daughters on FaceTime, every night when I'm away, when I'm out of town. Why not apply it? Why is it always still the same? Here's your gallon of concentrate disinfectant, break it down like this. Here's your spray bottle of ready-to-use disinfectant. Here are these pre-moistened disinfectant wipes that nobody uses correctly. It's a way to get rid of all of that crap and to use technology just to give you the better product, because as Shannon said, you're always asked to do more with less. When the budget time comes, they don't fire vice principals, right? But yeah, you guys still have the same square footage you've got to clean. We had a head custodian from a school district in Virginia in January had sent me an email. He picked up a few of our devices. We have a battery version of this guy. It's a little bit bigger. You can come see it at the table. That 2 custodians, an 80,000 square foot elementary school, 2 custodians each had one of those battery mists, and they disinfected the entire school. It took them 2 hours. 2 hours to do the entire school. And some of you might look at this guy right here and go, he brought a coffee pot to this demo? Does he see how big this elementary school is? Right? The half gallon that this unit creates, when it's put through one of our misting devices, you're looking at an average of between 6,000 to 7,000 square feet per batch. And we have other devices that make it in bigger quantity, so I don't want you to think we only sell coffee pots. But we have a way to get you whatever size volume that you need. And then we have a better way for you to dispense it. Again, say you guys have a million things on your list of things to do, and somehow disinfecting, you know, when the kids get sick, it's y'all's fault somehow, I don't know. But this is a way now that you can have to do your job, do it better than you've been doing it, and it's not your fault. The fault lies with the chemical disinfectants, the products that you've been using, they're just too slow. It's not you guys, it's not you, it's them, that kind of thing. So, do y'all have any questions or anything, or did I breeze over anything for you?
What about school buses?
Yes.
The Petri dish of
Yes.
the school.
Yes, so everybody thinks the kids get sick from each other in a classroom. In the bus, we're rubbing elbows together. How often do school buses get disinfected? Now this is a way, we have a new test to show that with this unit and even the battery, as long as it takes you to walk to the back of the bus, turn around and walk back to the front, you can disinfect the entire bus. You're talking about 7 seconds of time. That throughout this, all throughout the year, we can disinfect those areas and keep the kids safe. So I know that they have another product that they'd like to show you, this really sweet vacuum thing. It's 40 feet tall or something. So come by the table if you have any other questions.